An April snowstorm produced heavy snow that broke limbs and trees in the suburbs. Residents were still cleaning up and digging out from the April Fool's snowstorm a few days later. This is now officially the snowiest winter on record in the northwest suburbs. And as Jason Malello tells us, it's been a challenge for public works crews to keep up.
Cleaning up again.
You're on call 24/7 essentially if it's gonna snow. Definitely tired.
Work crews still at it on Monday morning, clearing parking lots and sidewalks.
I was in one of our big trucks Saturday morning. It burned through a full tank of fuel in about 6 hours. You're pretty much foot to the floorboards the whole time, moving at about 10 to 15 miles an hour, just creeping along. You didn't dare stop, because as soon as you stopped, you weren't going anywhere unless you backed up about 20 feet and got a good run at it.
Heavy wet snow on Friday night and Saturday morning brought down trees and power lines, but also pushed maintenance vehicles to their limits.
With the snow being that wet and heavy, it was definitely taking a toll. So yeah, there's a lot of coordinating and moving guys around, to make sure that we're still getting service and the roads cleared off.
New Hope Streets and Parks Supervisor Andrew Kramer calls this the most challenging winter in his 6 years on the job.
Usually it snows, it's done, we plow and move on, but this winter we've had quite a few where it's day after day after day, and the guys are in the trucks for long times and trying to get stuff cleaned up.
Kramer praises his workers for their dedication. They're often up in the middle of the night, driving to work on unplowed streets so the rest of us don't have to.
A lot of sacrifices have to be made to be available for each of these events. Most of our maintenance workers live 20 to 30 minutes away, so we got guys coming in from Montrose, Big Lake.
Definitely the most events we've had.
Plow drivers like Steve Roloff will be ready for more snow if it comes, and soon some much-deserved R&R.
We could sure use a 60, 70 degree day and have a weekend off for these guys where they're not watching the weather waiting for the next event.
Because winter can't last forever, can it? Jason Malillo, CCX News.
Let's take a look now at how the snowfall totals added up here in our cities. These snowfall numbers are from the National Weather Service. It shows how the storm varied all across our area. Parts of Maple Grove came in at the top with reporting 11 inches of snow. Brooklyn Park and Plymouth came in at 9.5 inches. New Hope weather watcher Steve Reckers says New Hope came in at 8.8 inches. 4 inches of snow fell in Brooklyn Center. A rain-snow mix is in the forecast for Wednesday, with new snow accumulation of less than 1/2 inch possible. Improvements are on the way to an area around Highway 55 and County Road 73 in Plymouth, thanks to a federal $15 million grant.
It's just seen as that completely doable in a suburb that is thriving and growing, in an intersection that's dangerous and that has tied in with a housing argument. It just had all the elements that you need to get it done.
Senator Amy Klobuchar stopped by Plymouth City Hall on Saturday morning to talk to local leaders about the grant. The money will add 2 bus platforms to Highway 55, make connections to the regional trail system, plus the project will add safety features like a tunnel under Highway 55. These are renderings and they show how the improvements will make it easier and safer to move through that area.
Enable us to afford to do all those kind of improvements, including realigning south of 55 with a roundabout, just so we have better traffic flow going through there. So yeah, it is, without this money that we got for the grant, we wouldn't have been able to jumpstart this.
The total cost of the project is $26 million, with the rest of that project funded by local funds and MnDOT federal funds. As far as a timeline, construction is expected to begin in April 2025 and be finished up by the fall of 2026. There will be opportunities for community engagement this year. The Plymouth Fire Department is investigating a weekend apartment fire where one person was found deceased. A release says the Plymouth Fire Department responded to smoke at Lancaster Village Apartments around 2:30 Saturday morning. They found a fully engulfed apartment. The entire apartment building was evacuated and residents remained displaced for most of the weekend. The fire chief says the cause of the fire will be determined by the state fire marshal. The identity and cause of death of the deceased has not been released. A Champlin Park High School teacher is receiving some prestigious praise. Liz Keeling is in the running for a National Teaching Excellence Award from the National Education Association Foundation. Sarah Allen shares her story.
Anyone else have a favorite holiday to share? For me, teaching is who I am. It is a reflection of who I am. It's a reflection of how I interact with people, how I interact with the world. I'm curious to know.
For almost 2 decades, Liz Keeling has been advocating for students at Champlin Park High School.
Who remembers anything? In my classroom, I take every student where they are and help them grow in whatever ways they need to grow. Yeah. Oh, that's a good word. They're totally ghosting her.
When the English and French teacher thought her students needed something different.
Okay, so for independent reading,
to improve their learning,
think about it.
She wasn't afraid to make a change.
In teaching, you can either have a mindset, a closed mindset, or a growth mindset. And so I had experienced some things that weren't really working for me, and so I reached out to get some training and to try some new things, and those were very effective. Okay.
Keeling began using what's called the catalyst approach to teaching.
They used to be friends.
She said it turned her classroom around.
All catalyst strategies is they're just structures to support students to be independent, support the classroom to be equitable, support the students to be successful.
We are so proud of her.
Principal Michael George says Keeling's willingness to adapt and learn new things makes her an excellent educator.
She really has a passion for learning for herself, which that is also then creates an environment of learning for her students, which is just fantastic.
Keeling says her learning will never stop, nor will her advocacy for doing what's in the best interest of her students.
I just continue to see myself as a growing teacher who is continuing to learn, says yep, and continuing to master my craft.
Sarah Allen, CCX News.
Keeling was nominated by her co-teacher for the award. She has previously taught journalism and yearbook at Champlin Park High School.
A local high school senior, soon to be a college football player, already has an endorsement deal lined up. And he's teaming with another local student athlete and a young entrepreneur to get it all done. Andrew Lanners says the entrepreneurial bug hit him at a pretty young age.
Hustling of different ideas, whether it's mowing yards or I remember like selling baseball cards or used golf balls.
The 2014 Osseo High School graduate bought a Buck Hunter arcade game immediately after graduating from Minnesota State Mankato in 2018 and turned a nice profit when he sold the game just a few weeks later.
Doubled my money, and then all of a sudden, probably a month or so later, the garage was just filled with probably 10 to 15 arcade games, and I didn't know exactly what I was getting into, but you start meeting people that can help you.
Lanners is now the founder and owner of Premier Pinball and Amusement. He sells pinball and various gaming machines to individuals looking to add that extra entertainment piece to a cabin or man cave. But the full-time teacher and coach at Osseo High School also wanted to find a way to give back to the community. So he signed former Osseo State High School champion wrestler Jacob Meissner, now in college at Arizona State, and current Osseo football standout Jerome Williams, a future University of Minnesota player, to an NIL agreement. NIL, that's name, image, and likeness. Deals that are beginning to flourish in the world of college athletics.
I'm really excited to be like one of the first guys in Minnesota and the first guy at Osseo signing one of these deals. And I think it's huge for like me, the other kids at Osseo who kind of like look up to me. Me being in this position and being like a role model, I think it's really cool.
Williams and Meissner each signed one-year NIL deals with PPA this week. A benefit to the company and to the two Osseo guys learning about business and the world of NILs.
Really just getting that experience of, this is how the first one went. I now know all the rules, the guidelines, the expectations.
NIL has become like a really big thing, and I'm proud to like have one. Not a lot of like high schoolers or even like college athletes have one.
The two Osseo guys got to hang out together at a recent photo shoot. Under NIL, the athletes can't wear the uniforms of either their high school or colleges. It was a good afternoon for Jerome.
I had a lot of fun. Like I said, that was like the first time I met Jake. We got fancy. I don't really dress fancy a lot, but it was fun to kind of like throw on a suit, take a lot of pictures and nice cars, that type of thing.
Just really being able to put them on a platform for what's best for their selves moving forward is kind of what this is all about.
The Hopkins High School girls basketball team has produced a number of Division I athletes over the past several seasons. Now the latest player has made her a commitment. One of Minnesota's top prep girls basketball players has found her home for college basketball. Hopkins High School junior Liv McGill announced this week that she is committed to play for the University of Florida. McGill was the third leading scorer for the state Class 4A runner-up Royals this season, averaging 14 points per game. McGill also led the team in assists and steals. She is ranked the 14th best player in the country in her class, according to ESPN's Hoop Girls rankings, and is rated the second best Minnesota prospect from the class of 2024, behind Olivia Olson of Vanille St. Margaret's. The Florida Gators are coached by Kelly Ray Finley, who was an all-state basketball player at Breck and won a state Class 2A championship with the Mustangs back in 2004. And that's all for sports. More at CCX News after this.
Meet the scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.